Hello YouTube, it's me TFR Wilderness and welcome to the year 2020 and the first of this year's end of month bot hauls. Yeah, this is this is episode 1 of season 5 of my end of month bot haul videos, and you'll probably notice from the thumbnail at the front of the video I've got a new thumbnail design. That's just something I like to do every year. I invent a new thumbnail design for my end of month bot hauls for that given year. This year I foolishly decided to go with silhouettes for the purchases. So you'll see I've got a string of silhouetted figures around the top and the bottom, along the top and the bottom of the screen. The big square rectangle is a comic. So if you see a blank black square rectangle, that's a comic. I will say taking silhouettes of toy figurines is a pain in the arse if you haven't got a appropriate photography setup, which I haven't. So with great difficulty I took them, and I've just spent the last, 20 minutes, half an hour trying to Photoshop them into some new design of thumbnail for this video series. But anyway, that being said, January, yes. So I've got 12 items to show you that I've purchased over the course of the month. A lot of little stuff actually, quite a few legend style things. Number of deluxes, well, a couple of deluxes, 2 KTRTs, a comic, and a third party figure. So without further ado, let's get started. Right, as I usually do, I usually buy my bots at the beginning of the month and wait till they arrive. Wait a lot throughout the rest of the month. Wait for them to arrive. But obviously, usually in January, because when you come into the new year, there's that period directly after the new year where because of the Christmas and New Year break, people take a few days or a week to get going again and start sending stuff out. So I didn't place my orders on January the 1st as I would do any other month. So anyway, the first purchase that arrived, so I do these figures in the order of arrival, not necessarily the order of purchase, but anyway. So a figure that I've been thinking about getting for a while now is a little Ratchet figure, a little sort of Legends or little Legends scale Ratchet, and there's a couple of choices available, and I've already got a version of the NewAge sort of Ironhide stroke Ratchet mold in what's he called, Riddick, the black one, the Diaclone, or the shattered glass version. So I didn't really want to get a repeat of that mold. I wanted to get a different mold, and the one I've decided on is it's obviously slightly bigger. It's like a bigger Legends figure. Is this guy? This is as we know, it's the Mech Planet Hot Soldiers ambulance. Now, obviously, this guy's been out for a while, and he's sort of getting tricky to get hold of. And I went on eBay, and I noticed there was a seller in the UK selling it for just over 20 quid with free shipping. And I noticed the eBay seller was Omega Lock, and it's actually TFS Express, Omega Lock. They actually sell items on eBay as well as through their online shop. And so I bought it, and it arrived on the 4th of January. What was the 4th? It was a Saturday. I think I ordered it. I'm pretty sure I ordered it on Friday the 3rd. I haven't got my ledger around, so I can't see for sure. But it arrived really quick, and the only thing I can think of is the reason it arrived so fast is because they sent it via courier. Because it arrived so fast is because we're into the new year, the Christmas rush is over, and a lot of the courier companies, when they start up in in early January, they ain't got a lot to do because a lot of the parcels have already been delivered. So my parcel got priority delivery, so it came through really quick. Yep, he's a decent little figure. I've said this before. When it comes to Ironhide and Ratchet, I'm Ratchet all the way. I'd much rather have the Ratchet version of the mold because, people who are fans of the G1 cartoon series love Ironhide for his portrayal in that particular show. I never watched the G1 cartoon. I haven't watched it as an adult. I couldn't care less about it. But Ratchet had a number of very prominent storylines in the Marvel G1 comics, and I really appreciate him for that. He's also had some great portrayals in subsequent, sort of cartoon shows. So yeah, I really like Ratchet. He's a great figure, and I wanted to get a little like a mini G1-esque version of him, and so I went for the Hot Soldiers version. It's a decent enough figure. It's got a bit of parts forming, so transforming back into vehicle mode, the roof section comes off, but you add those bits to it, and it becomes the little trailer like the G1. So it's nice that they did that. He's a decent figure. He's a bit lightweight, but he's got decent amount of joints. Nice stiff joints, decent design. First purchase of the new year. So yeah, I got hold of him. Hot Soldiers ambulance. Then now this next thing, comics. Now I can't remember exactly what I said in my last video, but the back end of last year, my comics my comic provider went through a bit of a change. Spartown Comics came to an end as it got absorbed into Collectors Assemble, which is a comic shop in Leamington where I live. Collectors Assemble have basically they've bought they've bought out Comic Connections in Banbury, which was affiliated with Spartown Comics. So that now it's all big one happy family. They're all working together, and they're all one big happy comic shop. But as a result of that, my subscriptions got absorbed into Collectors Assemble. And the thing is, as I may have said before, with Spartown Comics, I used to go uptown either once a week or once a fortnight, and then the comic guy I used to deal with, Richard, I used to see him. He'd usually pull a comic out, says, "Yeah, I've got this for you this week or that," and even he'd pull a comic out if he had a comic for me, and if he didn't, he'd just say, "I haven't got anything for you this week." But I could then sit down and have a good old chit-chat with him for 15-20 minutes about Transformer related subjects, and he was my local sort of Transformers guy who I used to see on a regular basis. But since the merger with Collectors Assemble, he now works full-time in the Banbury shop. He works in Banbury, so I don't see him anymore. And the new guy, the guys I'm dealing with now in the Leamington shop, know absolutely diddly squat about Transformers. And also, they're struggling to get the comics in for me that I'm a subscriber to. So anyway, I was and ahhing as to, do I really want to continue with comics? Do I want to continue buying these Transformers comics? I'm not currently enjoying the current run of Transformers comics, not really. When I pick my comics up, if they go to the shop, if they've got any, I don't get that, I don't get that conflab, that friendly chit-chat, with the guys. It's just a very cold sort of transaction. Have you got anything for me? Yeah, here's your comic, here you pay for it, blah, 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 job done. And I'm not getting anything out of comics now, really, compared to what I had before. I mean, before, the comics were desperately mediocre, but, it was still worthwhile getting my comics because, of being able to go and see Richard. But now I haven't even got that. So now I just get buying mediocre comics as and when the shop gets them in. So I went in to... I actually got... that was it. I got an email from them saying, "Oh, we've got a comic in for you." So it's the first time this has happened since the merger. First time I got an email from the shop saying, you've got a comic in stock. And it was issue 15 of Transformers Bold New Era. This. Now, the thing is, I mean, they send me emails every week, new, what they call it, new comic day. They send me this email with lots of fancy graphics. It's got like reams and reams and reams of comics on it that are coming out that week. Mostly Marvel, DC stuff. No IDW, no Transformers. So it's of no interest to me whatsoever. And I get bombarded by emails by this shop saying, "Oh, look at all these new products that are coming out, blah, blah, blah." And I just don't get what I want. I'm not getting what I want out of it. Anyway, went to the shop on Friday the 10th. And there's a guy behind the counter, a guy named Ewan. He's a a tallish chap of Scottish origin with a beard and moustache, and I had a bit of a chat with him, and I aired my sort of, I wouldn't say grievances, my problem with the current setup. I said to him, I'm really thinking about cancelling my comics, and I'm not, I really liked talking with Richard, but I ain't got that anymore. The comics I'm buying at the moment, I'm not really enjoying them. Blah blah blah. I gave him the whole spiel, and he says, well, if you want to cancel your subscription, by all means. He didn't really seem to care that much. But anyway, he had a comic in for me, so I bought that. And when I bought this, it was £3, he's there now. Collectors Assemble have this thing with their subscriptions. What they do is when you start up a subscription, they ask you to pay double for your first comic. Now the reason being is this comic, I paid £3 for this comic and an extra £3 for the next comic. So basically, next time I buy a comic, I pay £3, and then when I cancel my subscription, they say, right, okay, we'll cancel your subscription, but they still would have ordered the next issue. So the next issue comes in, you get that comic because you paid for it with that extra £3 at the start of your subscription, and then that's it. The subscription's finished, and the comic shop doesn't get lumbered with a comic that they can't. They'll struggle to sell. So I understand the business side of it. So effectively, this comic's cost me double, even though it hasn't. Now I read this, and I was struggling to with these comics. I was struggling to find any reason to read them, and then I found these four pages where Megatron beats the shit out of Shockwave, and wow, that made this comic worth buying. I really enjoyed that. So yeah, this issue I quite liked it. It was good. That basically, well, the gist of the story is, Megatron's running these Ascenticons, but Shockwave is sort of pulling strings behind the scenes, with his own sort of agenda. Megatron found out about it, and he went over to see him, and he had a couple of witnesses. He had Six Shot and who was the other one? He had two witnesses, and basically he beat the crap out of Shockwave to teach him a lesson. Look, I'm the guy in charge. You just follow orders. And it was great. It's kind of like when in the latest, in Cyberverse, when in that episode in season 2 when Megatron wailed on Starscream, it was kind of like that. So I enjoyed it for that respect. And he really ripped Shockwave a new one. It was great. And he started off by beating him around the head with a fusion cannon, and he broke the end off it. It's like so that was good. Yeah, that made buying this comic worthwhile. However, I will say now, rest of the month, I've not received any more emails from Collectors Assemble to say they've got new comics in for me. And I check up on eBay to see when the new comics come out, and issue 16 of this is now out. It came out on the 22nd, and I think also the next issue of Transformers Galaxies is out as well. And I haven't received notification emails from the shop to say they've got them in. So what does that tell you? So yeah, I'm again very close to cancelling my subscription for the comics and just binning them completely, because it's just not working for me. But we'll just have to wait and see next month or whenever I go to the shop next. I'll have a word with them and see how we feel. If they've got more comics in for me, then I might buy them, but I don't know. We'll have to see. Anyway, that's all the comics you can see this month. Right, so next. Then I placed an order on eBay for a couple of items from my mate Mr. Netclow, and they arrived on the 14th. First one, Transform Element MM01 Black Widow, their little Legends Black Arachnia. Now, I decided I wanted to get this. It's a pretty neat little figure. I mean, obviously I've got the Masterpiece up here. So yeah, I got the Masterpiece as well. And they've got the same name, Black Widow. I know it's a generic name for a redback spider, but yeah, it's a third party figure. It's got the same name, Black Widow. So yeah, how do they get around that? But anyway, this looks amazing in robot mode. Obviously, not so good in spider mode. This looks pretty good in robot mode for Legend scale. I mean, yeah, it's got these extra pieces, but they do come off. They are sort of parts for. It is a bit parts formery, this one. So you can take them off, and it gives it a much slimmer profile, and it looks really good. It's got quite a fiddly transformation for something so small, but it makes a more convincing spider than this thing. So I've got to give it that. Fairly cheap. I mean, it only costs about 20 odd quid. So I wanted to get it because, you know, it looks pretty neat, and it was fairly cheap. So yeah, I decided to get hold of that. So got hold of the Transform Element Black Arachnia, Black Widow, and it's my first product from Transform Element. I don't know if I'll be getting anything else off them, but I'm going to see what they're going to do in their sort of Legends line. I know they're doing Rat Trap as well. They're doing a Legends Rat Trap. I might be tempted to get that, maybe. I don't know. I'll have to see about that. Yeah, because there's a Toy World doing that Transmetal Megatron as well, and I want to get hold of that when it appears. Yeah, so Legends Beast Wars figures. Bring it on. Right, next. Another figure from a new sort of transforming, third-party company. Transcraft Mohican, aka Mohawk from Transformers: The Last Night. Yes, this company's come out of nowhere and done a I suppose you could say it's a movie masterpiece scale version of the figure. It transforms into a bike. I think it's based upon what are they called? A Confederate motorcycle. They're kind of like a company in America that make sort of Harley Davidson style motorbikes, but their motorbikes are more like, they're kind of like the motorcycle equivalent of a muscle car for a blue collar worker, kind of like the motorcycle equivalent of a Ford Mustang. They're very sort of industrial looking bikes. Pretty cool, and I think that's what this was based on. This thing, yeah. I don't know whether you saw Bisto Yeti's review where he tried to transform this thing out the box al fresco, and yeah, it was quite amusing trying to watch him to try to transform this thing. But to be fair, it's not that easy to do. This guy, he's not particularly complex, but when you're going into it sort of head first without without watching any videos or reading the instructions, this thing comes in motorcycle mode. And because it's basically all this gunmetal colour, it's difficult to tell which bits, where to start when you start the transformation, which bits to pull out first. I mean, it does peg together very firmly, very solidly. And it's got a few bits on it that aren't too clever. I mean, like the chest pieces here, they just do not peg in. They just don't peg in at all. They just sort of sit in place. He has got an opening mouth, and he's got those chameleon-like, sort of eyes on a ball socket. That's quite interesting. Yeah, he's got a decent amount of joints. He's fairly poseable. But like I said, he's a bit tricky to transform first time round, and the instructions, to be honest, aren't much cop either. I mean, there's only about 8 panels. I mean, it does show you how to start the transformation by prizing the legs out of the like the gas tank of the bike, but the rest of it is not very clear. There's a bit of parts forming involved. You have to take one of the wheels off and plug it in his shoulder as well. But he's a decent enough figure. He's got a decent amount of articulation, and once you get the hang of it, it's quite easy to transform. But and it's got a lot of very tight joints, and there's some fiddly little ball joints keep popping off all the time when you transform it as well. So you got to keep that in mind when you're messing with it. But it's not a bad little figure. It's decently poseable. It's got a nice aesthetic. It's not bad, and it's not that expensive. And the first effort for this new company, Transcraft, it's not too bad. Again, another company. It would be interesting to see what they come up with next. But for now, this is their first effort, and it's not too bad, and worth getting if you like your movie bots. And then the other thing I got from Mr. Netclow. Yep. NewAge Leviathan. Their take on the Seeker mold, but Thundercracker style. Ooh, yes. Well, NewAge. I like my Legend stuff. I mean, I've got quite a few, Magic Square figures, and I quite like them. But NewAge are kicking it out of the park at the moment. I mean, their stuff's amazing. Obviously, I got that Megatron. He's just in there. I got the Agamemnon mold, even though I got the toy coloured ones in the shiny silver. Amazing thing, and this is just as much amazing figure. The way the transformation works is awesome. Amazing posability as well. Cleans up, the wings just fold into the legs. Fantastic, and the way the cockpit actually becomes the chest. It's really amazing the way the transformation works on this. It's fantastic. Looks the part, fantastically posable, awesome figure. My only gripe with it is the colour. It's Toon shade blue, that light blue. I'm not a fan of the Toon aesthetic. I prefer toy aesthetic. So I would have preferred this figure to be in the darker blue. Now, if they reissue this figure in Toon colours, I might be a little bit annoyed, because that's the one I really want. But I don't know. Apart from that, he's a fantastic little figure, and yeah, NewAge have done it again. Bought out an absolutely another amazing mould. Came with an absolute butt ton of accessories, including a stand, which has this die-cast piece, which is a parts form piece, which you can put with other pieces that you get from the other figures to form a space bridge. So yeah, there is that about it. It's got his null rays, and it has all sorts of accessories. Fantastic figure. Brilliant. Another awesome product from NewAge Leviathan. And those were the little bits that I got from my mate Mr. Netclow, and they arrived on January the 14th. So next, January the 17th, which was a Friday, my KTRTs arrived, which I've done reviews on. Firstly, this guy, Miniforce Super Dino Power Tyranno Thunder. He's really great. He's got decent amount of transformation. It's got like 5 swivels on. He has got a bicep swivel on one arm at least, because obviously he's got the shooter gimmick built into the other arm. Lovely, colourful, quite interesting transformation. It's got some unusual joints, but a decent figure. And again, it's something from the Miniforce line. And from what I can tell, this was made by yet another company. I mean, Miniforce, it's gone through. They started out with Sonicon, then they went over to a different company, and now they're on to their third company. And what's going on? I mean, this is season 5 of Miniforce. It's their 5th season. They're basically doing Dino Thunder from Power Rangers, basically. It's a great show. There's some interesting products coming out from it, and some of them are like really unusual. Like one of them, there's like a robot riding on the back of a Triceratops, and then they combine together to form a bigger robot. I mean, it's like, what's that all about? That's a weird thing. There's a pterosaur that turns into a robot as well, but it's not quite as good looking as this thing. So I decided to get this guy. He's big, he's heavy, he's made up that usual sort of Korean build quality. Decent enough figure. Got lots of clicky joints. He's all right. He's great. Don't regret buying him. Bit pricey because KTRTs are going up in price, and the price of the pound is plummeting, and it'll be interesting to see what the exchange rate is doing today, considering it's Brexit day today in the UK. Yes, and 11 o'clock tonight we leave the European Union, so what's that going to do to the exchange rate, I wonder. But yeah, I don't like dragging politics into these videos. That's about as much as I'm going to say on the matter. Yeah, so got him. He's all right. And yeah, he arrived. And then also the same day, because did I order them? No, I ordered them from separate sellers. That was it. Then got Robot Train's Duck. Yeah. This is the original Gina version that comes with the upgrade parts, or the unit parts. He's very, very basic. He's very restricted articulation, very simple. He's like a lot smaller than the other Robot Trains figures I've got, and there's not a lot you can do with him, to be honest. He looks better when he's when he put the boots on, because with these legs he struggles to stand up, but he's very disappointing, and I passed this guy over previously. I decided I wasn't going to get him because I knew how basic and simple and small he was. But then I rewatched the show because it's on Netflix UK, so you can watch seasons 1 and 2 in English on Netflix. Season 1 is amazing. I can thoroughly recommend you go and watch season 1. Season 2, on the other hand, don't even try watching season 2. I finished watching season 2 the other day. The last couple of episodes are the last 4 episodes are actually have a storyline that goes on about this encroaching sort of this darkness that's coming into train world, and basically sapping all the energy out of something, and it's quite interesting. And then they have that episode where they have that Johnny, that guy who plays music, and They try to find out when Johnny's birthday was, and it turns out he burnt up his engine, and then Master X gave him a new one, and it didn't have a date stamp on it or something, and that was quite an interesting episode. But Duck, yeah, I knew what I was letting myself in for when I bought this guy. I knew he was going to be disappointing, but I've got him now. And he is disappointing. There's not a lot you can do with him, to be honest. He's a great character in season 1. Season 2, he doesn't really do a lot. You don't see him that often. And then his character seems to have changed quite a lot from the first season. He isn't sort of fawning after Kay all the time. So yeah, he's not that great. But I got him. I did a review on him. That video's not doing very well, viewing figure wise. It's really, really struggling. No surprise there then, because who wants to watch me doing a review of this thing? But there you go, I got him. And yeah, so they arrived on the 17th. Then, now, I did say in previous haul videos that I was going to wean myself off Kapow, because I'd had a lot of, over the years I've had a number of minor problems with them, and I do a lot of business with Kapow, and I was sort of going off them a bit in that regard. However, I then looked on Kapow sort of towards the middle of the month, and I decided, what, I'm gonna place an order for multiple items on Kapow. So I'm gonna eat my words. What I actually meant was, when I say I'm gonna wean myself off Kapow, what I meant was I'm not gonna try not to do Kapow pre-orders as much, because that's largely where I have my problems. If they've got the stuff in stock, and if I can buy multiple items that over their £100 threshold for free shipping, then that's what I'll do, and that was the case here. There was a number of figures they had in stock that I wanted to get, and I just went ding, 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 ding. I ordered 4 figures, and they arrived on the 22nd. So the first item I went for is this guy. So Mastermind Creations Reformatted R41 Ultio. So it's their take on IDW Senator Ratbat. Yeah. Now this is it's obviously a remold of their Alpha Alpha, was it Alpha Beta or whatever it was called, Alpha Beta or whatever. It's obviously a repaint of another mould they did, and they just done it in this purple and gave it a few extra tweaks. And yeah, I just love the colour on it. And I love this this purple, or is it a dark mauve? You know, it's one of those really interesting colours. Typical Mastermind Creations figure. Good build quality, nice aesthetic. You know, nice diff joints. You know, slightly involved transformation, but you know, sort of nails the IDW aesthetic. You know, quite well. And there is that that repaint of the Generations Scourge mould as Senator Ratbat, and that looks amazing. I wouldn't mind having that at some point. So, somebody knows of one going cheap, they can send me a message. I'm definitely in the market to buy one of those at some point. But yeah, so I got him. He's pretty cool. Now, because this was a convention exclusive, it didn't come with a comic. It just came with the regular instructions, which is a bit disappointing because Mastermind Creations like doing those little comics in the back of their instructions manuals, which are really cool. Didn't come with that, but no, he's all right. He's a decent figure, and he you know, increases the total of Mastermind Creations figures I've got in my collection now to, I think, 15. I think it's the third or the fourth most numerous company in my collection. I know Toy World is the most popular, and then I think it's Unique Toys, then I think it's Fans Project, then Mastermind Creations, and then DX9. So yeah, I got hold of him. He was about, what was it, just under 80 quid, I think. That was a pretty good price. Fairly typical Mastermind Creations figure. He's really good, and I'm glad I got him. Then, Studio Series World War II Hotrod. Now, I've been watching a lot of these, you know, end of year sort of haul, best of videos from, you know, people, you know, top 10 Transformers of 2019, and some people have actually done the TF19 of 2019. I didn't think it was going to happen, but there's about 4 or 5 people who've done it, and fair play to them. I could have done the TF19 if I'd have wanted to, but I decided I'll just do a top 12. But then you get the people doing their worst bots of the year, and the Bumblebee mould and this mould crop up on that quite a lot. And having got hold of this version of the mould, I can see why. Kibble, for starters. I mean, he's got these massive chunks of vehicle kibble on the back of his legs. It does restrict his articulation somewhat. And when you transform it doesn't peg together properly in vehicle mode. Try what you may, it just does not peg together. Now, I was going to go for the Bumblebee version of this, but I just could not find it at a decent price. It was always like over 20 quid, and I refused to pay that. So, you know, Kapow had this for $19.99, and I thought, you know what, I'll get him. Don't get me wrong, I like the aesthetic on it. I like the aesthetic of the robot mode. It looks really cool. But, you know, then you try to transform it into that fictitious armoured car, and it's like, yeah, this isn't really working. I mean, you plug his, you know, sort of like, you know, revolver cannon thing into the vehicle mode, and the roof section won't stay down then, because you can't peg it down enough. So yeah, it's not a great figure, and it's definitely in the running for the worst part I got this month because of those reasons. But you know, he's not too bad, not too terrible, but you know, he has his faults, and I don't think I'll be getting the Bumblebee version now. I know Toy World are doing their interpretation of the World War II Hotrod, and I will be getting that as and when it comes out. So this will be a great comparison to go with it. But yeah, got him. Then I got Studio Series Soundwave, the AMG Mercedes from Dark of the Moon. Now, for a while now, I've been hankering or wanting to get hold of a version of Dark of the Moon, you know, Soundwave in a version, either the Takara Deluxe or the Human Alliance version. Now, the Human Alliance version, there is a lot of knockoffs out there. So when you're buying it off eBay or other places, you've got to be careful, because there's a good chance you'll be buying a knockoff. So then this version came out, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to go for this version. It's not bad. It looks kind of complicated, but the transformation's quite simple. Especially, I'm surprised how simple the legs are. They're just 2 folds and you're done. And he comes with the Lazerbeak figure, which is just a soft plastic thing. It plugs on the arm. It's got no paint on it apart from the little beady red eyes. It's okay, I suppose. The robot mode, as you can see, has got a lot of chunky kibble on it, and kind of restricts its articulation a little bit. And they've put this dark splodge of paint on the middle of his face, and his face looks really weird because of it. I don't know whether it'd be worth touching it up with a chrome pen to make it look better, but he's all right. He's not bad. It does peg together into car mode quite well. Car mode looks beautiful. It's a Mercedes. What is it? It's a AMG. That's it. SLS. That's it. Just checking. Yeah. So it's a decent figure. It's not bad. So I'm glad I got that. And then Siege Spinister. Now, again, watching people's top bots of the year videos, this guy, especially on the Americans, was cropping up quite a lot. A lot of people was putting this on their top bot of 2019. And I can see why. I mean, the engineering on this thing's amazing. The fact that, you've got 2 identical cockpit legs, and only one of them is the actual cockpit. The other one just sort of like folds away underneath the helicopter mode out of sight. And yeah, transformation's really good. I mean, obviously I've got the G1, so yeah, so I had that reason to get it. Also, he's a scavenger, and that's my main reason for buying him. He's a generations update of Spinister, who I can use as a stand-in for my IDW Scavengers lineup. The only thing is, in the IDW Scavengers, Spinister was massive. He was basically a Voyager bot to the other guys, Deluxes. He was huge, and this guy is tall for a Deluxe. I mean, I know the Studio Series Deluxes are quite small, but he's quite tall for a Deluxe. But I don't think he's that tall. I know possibly Aoyi Mech is going to do an oversized version of this at some point, and I might get that as a stand-in for my sort of IDW Spinister. Not that there's anything wrong with this. The only issue I have with it is when you transform it into helicopter mode is getting the second cockpit to peg in underneath the tail. And was it Dr. Lockdown did his top bots of the year, and he did a little skit showing you how to do it so that it pegs in properly. You basically, apparently you flip one of the waist pieces upside down, and then it fits in a lot better. I tried that on mine, and it still doesn't peg in properly. It pegs in a lot better, but it still doesn't sit flush. It keeps springing out. So yeah, it has got that. But the engineering, the articulation, the look. I mean, G1 homage. It's pretty much perfect, and it's a really good figure, and I like it a lot. So yeah, that was the last of them 4 items I got from Kapow in a moment of weakness. But like I said, I mean, when it comes to Kapow, I'm probably not going to pre-order anything from Kapow, but if they've got it in stock, then I might be tempted to buy a number of items off them, provided I can make my order up to over £100 and apply for the free postage. So that's probably the way I'm going to go with Kapow from now on. So that was it. So one more product, well, 2 more figures. Now there was a couple of NewAge figures, new NewAge figures that came out, and I was waiting for them to get in stock at Omega Lock, or TFS Express, and they did, and I went bang, buy, and I hit that button so hard. Yeah, so I ordered them from Omega Lock, and it is the NewAge H19 and H20 Hogan and William Bonney. They're Legend Scale Brawn and Outback. Now, these things are awesome. Yeah, so here's the Brawn. He teeny tiny little fella. But, he's got amazing articulation, great aesthetic, great sculpt, really involved transformation, fantastic figure. And then you look at what NewAge are doing with this mould. By remoulding the chest plate and the head sculpt and applying a few different paint apps. They're doing the pizzeria. They're doing those Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles using this mould, and absolute genius idea. I was half tempted to get them myself, but I probably won't bother now that I've got these guys. But what a brilliant reuse of the mould. Absolutely fantastic. Works so well. I mean, this guy almost looks like a turtle with these colours, But yeah, fantastic. I mean, I like to see more, crossovers like that, Transformers crossovers. I mean, yeah, we got thingy last year, the Ghostbusters, Ectotron last year, and then we got those Street Fighter crossovers by Takara as well. So yeah, let's have some more crossover figures. I really appreciate that. I mean, I would like to see more sort of like iconic, movie and TV vehicles getting the Transformers treatment, like the A-Team van or Kit from Knight Rider or Blue Thunder or something like that. I mean, come on. I mean, remold this and do a Blue Thunder homage. It'll work. So yeah, I got Hogan. He's a neat little bot. So yeah, he came as part of this 2-pack. And then we got William Bonney, who's, well, basically Outback. It's the only Outback I've got in my collection. I haven't got any other Outbacks. But I do remember Outback having that sort of, I wouldn't say starring role in the Marvel G1 comics, where Optimus Prime was thought to be dead, but he wound up on Cybertron, and everybody thought he was an imposter, and he was wandering around in the wilderness of Cybertron, and he sort of hooked up with Outback, and Outback believed him when he said he was Optimus Prime, and then Ultra Magnus came after him, and Outback got injured, but Optimus saved him, and then Ultra Magnus saw that this Optimus imposter was helping this fellow Autobot, and he realised he was really Optimus Prime and went in with a big hug, welcome home, and all this, and yeah, it was great. So yeah, I have got I had a little moment with Outback back in the Marvel G1 comics, but haven't actually got any version of him in toy form. I haven't got the G1, I haven't got the Titans Return one. So yeah, this is my first Outback, but I like the colours on him. Like that sort of like tanny and brown colour. It looks really great, and the pair of them, fantastic little bots. So if you like your Legends figures, go get them. They're fairly cheap. They're small, but they're intricate. They've got plenty of articulation, great moulding, fantastic little figures. So yeah, really enjoyed those. And yeah, that is my end of month bot haul for January 2020. I'm going to continue doing the first and worst because that's just a thing that I do. So I haven't quite decided on the first, though. I think first and worst. Yeah, even though he's the wrong colour, this thing is amazing. It's incredible. It's Thundercracker. The engineering on it's outstanding. It's just the wrong shade of blue. But this guy, wow, yeah, he's such a disappointment. I knew he was going to be a bit, bit of a letdown, but he proved to be more so than I was expecting. So that's them guys. Now, before I sign off on this video, going forward into next month. Now, I like to buy a lot of packages from the Far East. I order stuff like like this and these guys and him, from sellers in the Far East, and we all know that a lot of Transformers products come from China, and currently China's got this really serious, epidemic with this coronavirus going on, and yet they're trying to, contain it. They're trying to, they've got cities in lockdown, and they're trying to weather the storm. And also, it's just immediately after the Chinese New Year, which is another thing which sometimes delays, parcels getting out of China. And Transformers Slag Podcast did a video the other day where they went on about this, and they said about the possibility that you order a package from China, somebody who's got coronavirus, sneezes on it, and they wrap it up and then they send it across the sea, and then you get it and you open it and you get these dried out spicules all over your hand, and then you rub your nose, and before you know it, you've got the coronavirus. It's a distinct possibility that it could happen. I mean, yeah, okay, viruses need nice warm bodies in order to survive, but they can sometimes go go dormant when they land on a surface, and then you only have to warm them up and get them on your skin, and they start reactivating. So I'm not saying it's a thing, I'm not saying it's a problem, but I think it's better to wait it out. And so I'm going to try not to be ordering any packages from China over the next month or so, just in case. I'm going to wait till this thing blows over. I mean, there's been these sort of Fans Toys has put out some sort of notice on Weibo saying that they're shutting down production on one of their factories till sort of like the middle of February as a precaution, and you can understand it. It's a very serious thing, and it could spread. It could be this Armageddon sort of virus that's going to wipe out the human race, maybe, but hopefully not. I mean, China seems to be doing a really good job on containing it and making sure that any infected people are being properly treated. So and they got no large quarantines in place. But it's just a thing. I just think that it might affect us as Transformers collectors in the West, because the majority of transforming toys come from China. It's just something to be mindful of and aware of, that maybe you should hold back on buying any products from China until this all blows over. But that's just my thought on it. So that's it. That's been my end of month bot haul for this month. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hope you like some of the things that I've picked up. I wish I would have got this video out sooner, because I've had a bit of a mare today. Well, at work I had to do some overtime this afternoon unexpectedly, and it was a bit annoying because I really wanted to. I usually have Friday afternoon off, but I had to work through Friday afternoon, so I lost a couple of hours, and there was things I was planning on doing this afternoon. Like, I wanted to go to the comic shop this afternoon to see if they got any new comics, but I wasn't able to do that. So I was a bit annoyed when I came home from work, and I've got a bit behind with my video making. I had to do the thumbnail, which took some time, but anyway, I'm here now. I'm doing it. It's 8:30, and this video's run out for 50 minutes. So there you go. So yeah, that's it for this month. I've been TFR Wilderness. I don't know if I'll be doing any reviews next month. I don't know whether I'll be buying any KTRTs next month because of reasons. But we'll just have to wait and see. I don't know what next month's going to bring, but you'll just have to suck it and see. So I've been TFR Wilderness. I'll catch you all next time. Ta-da.
Blue Egg.